Everyone's saying buying a home is long-term better and is in your favor. But what if actually renting a house save you $100 more?
And owning a house in a wrong place can also cost you more than you think as well. So we're going to really break down the numbers today, and we're going to talk about our own county of Pitt County. And we've helped dozens of clients really look at this exact question: should they be renting or should they be buying? And we're going to break it down by town and town so you don't waste your money making the wrong move.
Exactly. Therefore, we said Pitt County, but really we wanted to start really with the Greenville and Winterville here. And we are Alan Victoria Pinder, real estate agent in Greenville, North Carolina, and we are here to give you all information that you need that you can make a better decision.
Now, we help a lot of home buyers all the time, from relocation to people who have been renting and now are considering buying. So we're not going to generalize. We're going to look at the numbers, what is happening, and in some places renting is going to be smarter, but buying is also going to be a wealth building activity and a wealth building tool, and something that is going to be yours for the future that you can actually pass on as generational wealth. So you have to look at your goals, and it's not just the bottom number. So, and we'd have to look beyond the headlines to really see what is going on.
Exactly. Therefore, we're going to focus in the beginning at the end of 2025 data for Greenville and Winterville, North Carolina, and Ayden, and you see the numbers, for example, how these numbers actually increased by this pass of the last year from 2024 to end of 2025, saying that the median rent for Greenville, North Carolina for a 3-bedroom, a small 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
No, median rent for all rents.
And for all rent.
For all rent.
Is around $1,600. And this is a very tight inventory. And we had the rising price really from last year to this year, almost $150.
Now, Winterville is going to be at $1,625. It is often newer because it's in an area, and Winterville is generally considered a more family-friendly opportunity. Now, the opposite of that is going to be Ayden. Ayden had some ups and downs in the past year, and the median rent in Ayden was what?
Is $850, but there was a fluctuation. As my wife said, there were some months in Ayden that we got to $1,100 or $1,200 even. But in general, for the median rent for Ayden is $850.
Now, if you're paying $1,600, you can be in a nice home. But honestly, if you're unsure of your future and you don't know what's going on and you don't have $1,600, maybe renting in Ayden is going to be at a better math for you. So we're going to look at the math. Rent, what is the positives of rent? Flexibility, liquidation, lower risk, of course, because you just have to move out and the thing. If you're looking for short term because you're only going to be here, maybe that is the better option. It's going to save you money and you're testing the area. Now let's talk about ownership, which is what we more focus on.
Exactly. Therefore, the ownership, especially in Greenville, Winterville, Ayden that we were talking, and whole general in Pitt County.
And our numbers are based on 6.5. Now, if the numbers are lower, and they actually are lower because I wrote this 2 days ago and the interest rates went down. So just throwing that little caveat out there, even though I don't do the math, my husband does the math, but it was done at 6.5. So it's actually lower than what we're saying.
Exactly. Therefore, this cost that we are saying even is lower at the time. Why? Because we base this number based on 6.5% more interest rate for the conventional loan, but right now with the Federal Reserve we have even lower than that. That's going to save you money. But
these are just general speaking. We are not lenders. We're not trying to be lenders. We looked at the median price of homes and we looked at the rent prices just to give you some comparison. And yes, our numbers might be a little different than yours because you have to talk to a professional to actually know what your numbers are.
Exactly. Therefore, Greenville median home price right now is around $273,000. Therefore, with this interest rate, really
including insurance and taxes.
Including insurance and taxes, you are looking at something around $1,700 to $1,750 a month.
That's less. $1,686 was the number I came up with. Pitt County is going to be about $1,700. Winterville is going to be closer to $2,000. Farmville is definitely cheaper to own at $1,650 because rent is $1,800 there. Grimesland is actually better to own as well because rent is going for $2,100 and up, and you can own for much less than that. So you can just see, I would say if you're looking in Greenville, it's better to rent. If you're looking to buy? Oh, it's better to buy in Greenville, and it's better to buy in Winterville. It's actually cheaper for you to buy in Farmville, and it's cheaper to you to buy in Grimesland, and it's cheaper in Olive Pitt County to own rather than to buy.
I just want to add these numbers a little bit fluctuate. Why? Because different part of Greenville and Winterville, they have different property taxes. Therefore, we cannot definitely exactly tell you what it is, because some of them, they have extra taxes that we need to dig in. But these are like average numbers that we are telling you, but don't take it with the grain of salt that this is what we are talking to you in a general term.
And just to give you a real life example of a recent client and a recent situation, these people came from a different area, relocating. They're usually rent, and they're going to be making a decent amount of money. I don't want to give it too many things away, but basically the rents were going for what they wanted, between $25,000 to $3,000, because they wanted something nice. So ended up buying because it saves them their mortgage payment, even though they didn't put much down, was going to be $2,500, because again, their down payment. So it really does matter when you look at the numbers and you start seeing what you can afford, and it makes more sense to buy than it makes more sense to rent in many times. That's not the only situation we see.
Exactly. Therefore, now when renting is the renting is a smart strategy. Now we talk about like a median price, what is you get actually in the different cities in the Pitt County, North Carolina. But why it matters is renting is not just about affordability. It's about the life stage that you guys are in, based on the liquidity and also the lifestyle you have right now for you and your family.
Now for me, when did I rent? I got out of college, I had a lot of student loan debt. There was no way anybody was going to give me a mortgage when I was younger. It didn't make any sense. I had too much debt and not enough like income, so I had an income problem. Now also, so it just depends on your situation as well, your debt to income and all of this. Now, but if you are renting in Ayden for $850, I can promise you there's no way we can find you a house where you're going to have that match at the filming of this video with the interest rates, because if you're wanting to live into something livable, that's going to be a really hard find.
Exactly. Therefore, that $850 respect to what we said for the median price for the Ayden, when mortgage was $1,603 for that median number, this is like an 89% more.
And I mean, also sometimes just paying a little bit more gets you something. We also helped another person very recently as well. She was paying $1,200 in rent for Greenville. She's now paying $1,700 for her mortgage in Winterville. However, she did not have to put pretty much anything down in order to get the $1,700 a month payment, because she was happy with the townhome, because this was a single lady who didn't want to mow lawns or anything like that.
Exactly.
So it can be smarter in many situations to own than rent in many ways, but sometimes renting is the smarter move because it lets you be mobile.
Exactly. Therefore, really it comes back to your situation, your lifestyle at the moment, the situation of your income, your asset and liability that you have, how much debt you have, how much debt you're carrying. And now we wanted to talk about when buying pay off.
I flipped the page and he's so excited because he's like, oh, that's the next topic. You can see it in his face. Sorry. Good.
Now, I wanted to talk to you, to that version of you that you're excited to become a homeowner. No, because the home ownership experience, it brings you joy, stability, power of appreciation that you never get with the rent. And now we're gonna say to you,
get no landlord, no mortgage increase, no rent spikes there. You have
decorate
control.
your house, modify your house the way that you want it.
You have a fixed rate.
Exactly. Therefore, now we are gonna say that, let's say from these 2-3 years we had for Greenville, North Carolina, we had something like around 19.2% appreciation, which is translate based off those numbers that we said to you, something around $52,400. And this actually with the fixed rate, the average gain in whole Pitt County, that was for Greenville, was close to $44,000. Therefore, you see this with the fixed rate mortgage, you cannot get anywhere else. And as my wife said, no landlord, no rent spice, and you have the most control over your life.
And in most areas in Pitt County, owning is going to be between, like, not that much more than what you're renting already, but you could be walking away from all that equity that you don't even think about that's actually wealth building. And we've had many people nervous about those interest rates being, oh, their interest rates are so high, but now they're still seeing that their house price went up in value. So they're locked into their fixed payment. Even though it's been a minute, they're now seeing that their house still appreciated, so it's calming the 7%ers down, the 7% interest rate people down. They can refinance when it gets to a certain point as well, and they can see that there's appreciation in their home. So it's in their interest to still buy in many situations. Now we're going to break down.
And do you want to also talk about the recent story? You know, one of the family that we recently helped, she was paying $1,250 a rent. No? Therefore, we got her half a duplex in Greenville, North Carolina, and now she's paying $1,240. And she used first-time home buyer grant in Pitt County, which is $15,000, that paid for her closing and the down payment. Now she more or less the same amount that she was paying for rent. Now she owns her house. And how you can buy that? Therefore, she was not even off that much from the place that you rent. Therefore, there are situations like that you can get that is really good for you, because you take advantage of everything that is available, and you can taste the home ownership too.
Right, so we're going to go break by community by state, city by city now, and really talk about where a lot of things are going. So in Greenville, would you say buy a house or rent?
What do you mean?
You should buy a house in Greenville. Why? It's actually lower ownership premium. You're going to get that high equity.
Okay.
Now, with Winterville, if you have a family and you're looking, it does cost more than Greenville. It's true. But if you have a family and you're looking for the little bit more suburban lifestyle, it is great for that in situations. So it is still better to buy in Winterville because the prices are a little bit more than Greenville, but you're looking to, for those lots with your families.
Exactly. In Ayden, you mark it as a rent, no?
I did. I would mark, because of the fluctuations and the lows of Ayden being like $850 in the past year. There's a massive, if you're paying $2,000 in Ayden, you might be paying too much because you look at what it rents for in the area and it's not necessarily in the best situation.
Exactly. In Farmville, North Carolina, definitely we suggest
it's the opposite situation.
Buy, especially with the new incentive that you need to talk to us.
Well, not just that, ownership is actually cheaper in Farmville because the Farmville rents were like $2,000 and more. So Farmville was actually a place that you should be owning because you can own for less than that.
And Grimesland is the same base of the median rent in Grimesland. Definitely we suggest there to buy too.
And Grifton, we can't really...
major equity opportunity in Grimesland. If you're looking at the appreciation in Grimesland, it was way more than even Greenville and Winterville.
Talk to me about Grifton. Where my mom moved, so I know.
And Grifton, I know that her family, part of her family moved. That's the new jewel in whole Pitt County, North Carolina. Guys, we had just from last year to this year, we got to the point of 6.7% appreciation. And that's going to be the next jewel. And no real rental market, but and some data that they have rental market is very limited, but something is between $1,500 to $1,700 based on those numbers.
The answer is, should you buy or rent, is not a blanket call. I can't just put in this video, you want to be here, you should buy. You want to live here, you should rent. I can't do that because your situation is best for you, and you know what's going on with your life far more than a person on YouTube is going to know what's going on with your life. But we are here to help you find what it is you're looking for, especially if you want to buy. So if you are running the numbers, you want us to help you run the numbers. My husband can do math in his head. I'm going to give that, like, people get amazed at how fast he can do numbers in his head. So he's happy to talk to you about what the numbers might mean for you. And if you want to if you want to text, call, email, talk to us, we're happy to do that.
Exactly. And as I said, we told you at least 3 to 4 successful story in this video, people with the low budget and higher budget, and how now they're the homeowner, and that could be the next, it's going to be you in that place. And don't forget to watch all of our playlists here. We have now amazing live YouTube for you about all the housing market in Pitt County, North Carolina. We invite you to see those live that me and my wife are doing. And also don't forget to subscribe in our channel here and leave us a comment, and in description below, everything that how you can connect with us is there. And see you next time.